Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. We're back with another video. I feel like I've uploaded so many good videos this week, but I had to do this one as well. We are going to be talking about the Huda Beauty new Pretty Grunge eyeshadow palette. I did go ahead and pick this one up in my Sephora yesterday. It was the official launch, November 1st, and this one is online. And I had to get it this week because it also is included in the Sephora VIB sale. So now's the time to get this one with an extra discount because you can get 10 to 20% off this right now depending on what tier you are on Sephora. But I have been seeing some leaks, sneak peeks of this for a few weeks now, and I definitely had this on my must buy list because all these brands are killing me with these cool tone palettes. They know I'm a sucker for them, and that has been kind of the theme this holiday season is cool tones. So let's go ahead and get into this. So here is the packaging on the Pretty Grunge palette. It's actually mirrored, which is really cool. And opening it up, here is your colors. You have a nice big mirror, and then the inside is full of these cool tone neutrals, and it definitely fits the name Pretty Grunge because when I think of grunge, I do feel like I always think of just like smoky colors. Silver's black, also purple, and it has kind of all of that in here. So it's very smoky, grungy tones. Here's a little close-up. We have some fun marbled shades, some fun textures going on. There is a cream in this palette as well because Huda likes to kind of throw in a couple extra different finishes with her palettes. So that is the inside. I will go ahead and insert the swatches for you as well. It says that Pretty Grunge is a way of life, the time to rise up, rebel, and redefine beauty standards. This modern smoky palette is packed with wearable matte shades in nudes, browns, and eggplants contrasted against decadent sparkly blacks and silvers, multi-chromatic foils, and a grungy black eye gloss for an added edge. I absolutely love the colors featured here. I think they are stunning shades, and I know you guys want to see how it compares with some of the other smoky tones on the market because I know we just had Natasha Denona Xenon palette, we had the Ghost Face and Glamlite palette, so I will be comparing those towards the end of the video. But before we get into that, I did do two looks, as you can see here, one on each eye using this palette. So let's go ahead and get into the looks and see how these shadows actually perform. For the first look here, we're gonna dip into Beauty Chaos, which is this kind of cool toned lavender, and I'm gonna place this here in the crease. Definitely shows up very purple on the eyes. Let's also add a little bit of Nirvana, which is a darker purple, and we'll kind of put this in the outer half. Next, we're gonna go into the matte black called Renegade, and I'm gonna place this in the outer corner here. Seems like a nice soft color, easy to blend. Really nice smooth mattes in this palette so far. I'm also smudging this on my lower lash line. I'm using the same brush. I know this is a little bit more fluffy, so typically I would use something a little more concentrated, but since it's grunge, we're gonna go a little messy. All right, next we're gonna go ahead and use the shade Haphazard. I'm just using my finger for this, which is a deep kind of smoky purple shimmer. And just kind of placing this in the middle and blending out towards the where we put some of the black, so we are covering that just a little bit. So that is just more of a soft satin, it's not super metallic. I'm gonna go ahead and use this kind of chunkier glitter called Rebel. This one does get a little bit of fallout, but I'm just gonna smooth this. You kind of just wanna smooth it on and it will just melt onto the lid. So I have no problems using these, they're just kind of annoying. Because they do kind of chunk up around the eyeshadow palette, but on the eyes they're so stunning, and you can just see that adds the pop and the glam to this look. Then I'm going in with Maverick to really brighten up the inner corner. I am going to go ahead and clean this eye up with some concealer just so we can kind of see the final effect, because I want to cut that a little bit on this side since the bottom got pretty smoky. amazing what a little concealer can do for your look. I do kind of take this just right on the brow too because I don't have my brows done, just to kind of blend those eyeshadow edges as well and keep it bright right underneath my brow. For our next look, I'm doing something a little bit more neutral here because we have some fun browns in the palette. I am going to take Love Anarchy in the crease. Just kind of using this as a base, bringing it up a little to my brow bone. And then we're going to actually go on top of that with this darker brown called Hope. I'm just taking a little bit and I'm going to place that right in the crease here, just leaving a little bit of the light brown on top so that we can still see the different layers. But I'm just only doing this in the crease here. Next, I'm going to take this kind of rose gold called Stand Up and just lightly press this on the lid. Next, I'm going to take an angled brush. I'm just going to use this brow brush. It's from Benefit. And we're going to dip into that cream black shade here called Grunge. And we're going to kind of make a little wing. And just filling all that in. So this doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but you know, just get your base drawn. Since this is a cream, I don't want to just leave it like this because then it's going to smear. So I'm going to take a really small pointy brush. This is the What's Up Beauty R107 and go into the powder black to set this and lightly smudge it out. I'm just using a very tiny amount of product. And then we're just kind of gonna very lightly pressing, smudging this line. So it's kind of like a shadow liner in a way, but that cream black just really helps set the base down so you can kind of draw out exactly what you want to do. Then we'll take our concealer to clean this up again. Since our wing got kind of thicker than I was expecting, but that's okay. I'm going to be using an even more detailed brush to carve that line. And I think I'm going to use this Avant-Garde shade. And I'm going to kind of lightly smudge this on my lower lash line. I'm going to add a little half lash to each eye. I've been obsessed with half lashes lately. It's so easy to apply and they actually stay on the eyes all day. So I haven't really been doing much full strip lashes. These are always kind of my go-to. I do put my mascara on first with these though, and making sure I'm really coating those inner lashes since the half lashes go more towards the outer section. And once the glue is tacky, we'll just plop those right on. And boom, you have a lash. So while these dry, I'm gonna go ahead and put on the rest of my makeup and we can talk about my thoughts so far on this Huda Pretty Grunge palette. Okay, so I'm honestly very pleased with the performance of these shadows. It's typical Huda quality that I love. I feel like Huda is in my top 5 for brands that I just always buy the palettes from because I love their formula. Even though they do a lot of neutrals, they do a lot of repetitive shades in some of their big palettes. I feel like there's always something a little different in each one, and I reach for them for different things, different occasions. They're definitely for the neutral lover. I know this is saying a lot, but I try a lot of eyeshadows, and usually I know right off the bat how I feel about a palette, how it performs, and I've tried a ton from Huda as well. So love the formula. I love the colors. I would say if you're looking for a more cool tone palette, but the Natasha Denona Xenon was like way too repetitive for you and way too gray, I think this is a little bit more wearable because you get those smoky tones, a little bit of silver, a little bit of black, so you can do that smoky eye, but it also has other shades included. There's browns in here, rosy tones, purples. I feel like there's a lot you can do with it and still get that cool toned look. So actually this might honestly be one of my favorite cool tone palettes of the year, just because I know that I can dip into this for every day. I can do so many different looks with this. They're all gonna look different. I know it's gonna be great quality and it's not gonna take me a million years to blend out. So for me, I'm really pleased with that. If you are feeling kind of the same way, you want to wear these cool tones but you still want something a little bit more, I would say, wearable or easy to work with or more you can do with, I think this is the one for you. I was so curious when I saw the sneak peeks for this how it was gonna look next to these two releases, but I did not even swatch these next to each other because they are so different. Let me show you guys. So I grabbed Ghost Face in Glamlite. This has been kind of my favorite smoky palette as of now for just a really cool tone, almost blue leaning smoky eye. As you can see, there's definitely more grays, and then in Huda, hers is more of a cool tone smoky eye but more purples included. So yeah, I find these to be quite different. Huda's definitely a little more neutral leaning and has a lot more kind of colors going on, especially with the mattes. This is just like straight cool tone bluish based silvers and bluish based gray mattes. Same thing for the Natasha Denona Xenon. These just do not even compare. When you look at them side by side, they're not even the same at all. I wouldn't even be able to match up similar shades if I did swatch them next to each other. But Natasha obviously is a bit brighter. It has some brighter white sparkly tones, but this one leans so just gray. There's lots of gray mattes. The Huda palette doesn't even really have gray mattes in it. It has those purpley mattes, but it does have like the dark black, but these two are so very different. I will go ahead and throw in some swatches of Natasha if you're curious, but they are not comparable in my opinion. Let's compare it to some of Huda's other palettes. So her last launch was the Empowered palette, and I feel like these can be a little similar with the mattes, considering the Empowered palette also has a lot of kind of purple tones, but I do feel like Empowered leans a little more warm. There's a little bit more kind of burgundy reds going on and golds for the shimmer as well. There's no silver in Empowered. With the shimmers, I don't feel like these are that similar. I mean, some of the shades did look a little close, but I actually find these to also be very different. I will say though, this actually has the same black cream liner as this one, but I think that you can definitely have both of these and get different looks out of them. Here it is next to the Huda Naughty Nudes. I did not swatch these next to each other just because I do not feel like these compare all that much. I feel like Naughty Nudes definitely leans more warm tone, and it doesn't have the depth that Pretty Grunge has. And here it is next to Huda's Rose Quartz palette. I feel like the Rose Quartz is a little bit on the brighter side, but definitely I would say there probably is going to be some similarities, especially with the purples, but I don't think they match up exactly. I think you can definitely get deeper looks with the Grunge palette. I did have some people asking to compare it to Natasha My Dream palette, because this does have, I would say, similar mattes going on, kind of a similar color story, but I will say the main difference is that the Huda Pretty Grunge has those silvery cool tone sparkles that are not in the My Dream. My Dream has a little bit more kind of orangey warm tones in it than this palette, so I don't think these are like exact dupes, but I did want to go ahead and compare them. I do feel like if you guys have the ColourPop Stone Cold Fox and the Bare Necessities, you can pretty much dupe any neutral palette, so that just goes without saying. So if you're really wanting something a little more cool tone and you're on a budget, check out Stone Cold Fox from ColourPop, although you can't get the exact looks in here. I tried to match them up and they just were not matching up at all. It actually is kind of a mixture of both of these, the Bare Necessities and the Stone Cold Fox, but yeah, I just feel like this is just regardlessly going to look similar. I mean, with neutral palettes, there's always going to be similar palettes, but there's always different formulas. You're always going to have other brands that you like more than others, and other shadows that just work easier for you. So even if you have similar color stories, that doesn't mean you can't own more than one similar palette, because something about it is going to be different. All brands do have different formulas, different ways that things sparkle, and just added extras in their palettes. I did want to go ahead and do some comparisons since it is a pricier palette, just to kind of see what things look like next to each other, and if it is hopefully helpful if you're looking to purchase or pass on this one. So that is kind of my thoughts so far on the Huda Pretty Grunge. I'm happy with it. I think it's a yes. Go ahead and grab this one if you're looking for a smoky neutral palette that you could do some everyday looks with. This is kind of what I was hoping the Natasha Denona Xenon would be for me, just having a little bit more variety. So I definitely prefer this over the Natasha palette, but they are also extremely different as we mentioned before. So let me know your thoughts on this palette down below. Are you purchasing? Are you passing on this one? I will have it linked for you in the description box as well as in the YouTube shopping here. You can purchase it right from the video and still get your Sephora discount. The code is time to save. I know Huda does a Black Friday sale as well, but typically her new stuff will not start out at a huge discount. I feel like last year they had like maybe 15% on her new palette, so I wouldn't really count on her Black Friday sale for this to be a super high discount since it just launched. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.